Hi, I'm Noah, and this is episode 3 of the series where I'm breaking down all of the music that I just released in my newest album, Identity, from a production standpoint, from a writing standpoint, from a music theory standpoint, and then sprinkling in some fun facts, some never before seen stuff. And this is the third episode. So, the previous episode we were looking at Blood Rose, and today we're looking at There's No Other Place. Now, this song is obviously very important to me and very personal to me. And it's kind of obviously a very timely conversation these days with the ongoing conflict and the war between Gaza and Israel. I'm going to be trying to stay away from the politics as much as I can, because I don't think this is really the format to do that. I don't shy away from that kind of conversation, and I'd be more than happy to talk about it, texting or talking or whatever. I just don't think it's really the appropriate place to talk about it is in a music breakdown. But I will be talking about the importance of the lyrics, what some of the lyrics mean, and kind of why I wrote it. So, yeah, there we go. Let's start off with where the song came from. The story goes that I was sitting in my room. I'd been kind of in a lull musically, and I just hadn't written anything in a while, and I was getting kind of tired. And I was like, well, what could I do? You know, I need to do something new. And I just couldn't think of it. I sat at the piano, and I literally just went, and I couldn't think of anything. And so I was like, all right, screw it. Like, I was there for like an hour. I was going to go take a shower and, try to get my head cleared. Taking a shower, and I'm just I started humming, and I came up with this line, En makom acher kmo Eretz Yisrael. Don't know where it came from. Really, I have no idea where. But it translates to, there's no other place like Israel. To this day, I don't know where it came from. But then I just thought of this, like, Yom echad yashavti levad. Literally just came out of nowhere. That doesn't happen usually. I usually sit down and I start writing a song, and I develop it that way. I'd never experienced this where it just like came out, kind of materialized in front of me in my head. I just started singing these words, and they just kept coming out, and I was like, what the heck? Like, I'm used to improvising music. I've done that for years, but it just came out of me, and I was like, okay. And so I quickly, like, I was midway through shower, and I just stopped my shower, like, was still soapy, quickly, like, dried off as quickly as I could, but I was like, my hair was still soaking. I run to my room, and I just start writing the melody, and trying to remember, okay, I just sang that part, so then this part, and I started kind of piecing these thoughts in my head together, and literally there was, like, drops of water, like, from my hair dropping onto the keyboard, and my hands were kind of sliding. I came up with these chords, and they're very sad and soulful. You start with the G minor, which is just in itself a sad chord, I think. Obviously, minor chords, there's a whole C major sounds happy, C minor sounds sad. But I think it's a lot more than that. I think each key and each chord has a completely different timbre. Because, like, that sounds way different than... This one sounds so much sadder. And so there's these musical tones and ideas that I usually work with how I feel the music. And it just felt like it was going to be in G minor, and it was. And it just felt right. Kind of sat there. It's just a sad chord. And then we go to C minor, which has, there's a little bit of less a sadness and more of a maybe there's something coming. And then that really, this D major still sounds soulful, but it's stronger. And it's contextual. Like, D major is a very strong chord. It just has a lot of energy, and a lot of will, it feels. And so the idea was that by landing on this D, you had this feeling of strength and of pride, I guess is the word. I don't know. It just feels, you know? And then we do the little. I love that so much. It kind of sounds like. It's got the same kind of vibe from classical music, but when done, it's trying to. It's incorporating microtonal style singing that you would hear in Arab music and Jewish hymns and prayers. So, quick music theory: there are 12 whole notes, but that is a Western tuning. Not every country uses those 12 notes. There are a lot of countries, mostly in the Middle East and leaning towards Asia, that uses microtonal music. So going between the notes. I actually wrote a whole song called Microtones way back when.
Microtones, what are they? They're the keys in the middle, lost in space. They'll drive you insane. Feels like inside of the brain. Story time. I'll see the policies and key disease. Keep it free, but sometimes it ain't easy.
It's, there's a C and there's a D, and what are between those? Well, there's C, C sharp, and then D, right? But there's technically, if you widen your horizons, there are an infinite amount of notes in between those. Some people will hear these kind of music and think, oh, they're singing out of tune. No, it's not out of tune. It's entirely intentional. And it's that, That's kind of the music theory behind why I wrote it, what I was feeling, how it came to be. Let's just break it down now. It's very simple at the beginning. It's this Outer Lands synth. Anyways, it's a really kind of scratchy, kind of nostalgic feeling that I was going for in the synth. And then we use an English horn. Which also kind of reminds me of Fiddler of the Roof. That was kind of an inspiration. Just Jewish and not just Jewish. Really, Middle Eastern music has a lot of similarities and overlap. There's obviously Jewish hymns and Jewish prayers that are from all over the world, where where we've lived everywhere. But they all have a very similar. That's the classic Egyptian sound, right? But that's used in all Middle Eastern music. It's a very specific sound. It's a scale that I cannot remember the name of. I always called it Egyptian because it's like, but yeah, you get it. And then we've got the flute. Also, very just subtle. These are instruments that are the synth not as much, but the horn and the flute both have very Middle Eastern sounding, tones. So it just starts with that. 3 instruments and the vocals. So here we go. Let's kind of break them down.
יום אחד ישבתי לבד, מה קרה? שאלה אישה, הכל נפלא. אמרתי לה, אני סתם מתגעגע הביתה.
These lyrics are actually out. You can read the full lyrics on Spotify and I think Apple Music and Instagram. If you put it in a story, it has all the lyrics. But the lyrics basically go, one day I was sitting alone, or let's just, יום אחד ישבתי לבד. One day I was sitting alone. מה קרה? שאלה אישה. Like, what's happening? What's wrong? Asked a woman. I said, everything is fine. I just miss my home. And it's, kind of storytelling a little bit. That's never happened. I've never been sitting at a random bus stop and some lady was just like, hey, what's wrong? I was like, I miss home. That's not happened. But yeah, it's just very simple. But that melody, let's not do it in that. very simple. יום אחד ישבתי לבד, מה קרה? There's nothing crazy about it. It's just very mournful and sad. Another inspiration was Hatikva, national anthem of Israel, which is also a very mournful yet powerful song. I think it's one of the most beautiful. I think it's one of the most powerful and most beautiful national anthems in the world that I've heard. Just because there's so much history and there's so much power to it, and it's so sad, and the lyrics are also sad, but they also have the sense of hope. I mean, literally, Hatikva, the hope, which is kind of what I wanted to go with. There's not much to break down there. We can isolate the horns, I suppose. Let's just do that real quick. Very simple. Very simple and just kind of sad and mournful. Then we come in with the slow jam, and the slow jam drums are not very complex. They're actually the most basic drum kit basically that you can have on Logic. You hear so many songs that are like that use this kind of one. It's like the classic garage band sound, but it's all about simplicity. So we come into the next part.
אני סתם מתגעגע הביתה, אין מקום כמוה, אין מקום כמוה, עם ישראל.
So it says,
אין מקום.
there's no place like her. There's no place like her. People of Israel, there is no other place. And to be fair, I think the sentence makes more sense in Hebrew, there's no other place, but it means there's no other place like Israel. There's no other place that is similar. Pretty simple. Yeah. And so let's go to the next part.
עם ישראל, אין מקום אחר.
And then we change it. And this is my first time rapping in Hebrew, and it was pretty fun, I'm not gonna lie. So we start with Habibti. Habibti is Arabic for my love, my dear. Great sentence. Great word. Sentence. Great word. I'm sure you've heard people say that before, but yeah. Habibti.
Habibti.
And we come in with this very different it's very back and forth. We can isolate that kind of. I don't think I played that. It's very you're getting that feeling. We have the bass, I think, is pretty simple. Oh, you know what? I did something that I never do with bass. So usually I'll do a bass line, right? So I would probably do. Right, I would do something like that. This one I didn't. I literally took the piano track that I had, the driven Whirly, which is a keyboard, took that track, put it in the bass, got rid of the chords. Right there. And then left the bass. And it's an abnormal way for me to do that. I don't usually do that, but I think it works for this song. It's got just that, because it's like that tutukara is very difficult for me to. I just felt that it worked just to have the same kind of rhythm.
حبيبتي אין מקום אחר כמו
So it's Habibti, my love, my dear. There's no other place.
מקום אחר כמו
Like
ארץ ישראל יש
the land of Israel. There
יש בו חופים
are beaches
והים
and the sea
ואנשים יותר יפים מכל העולם
and people more beautiful than anyone in the world. That's just true. I'm sorry. I love everyone. There's great looking people everywhere. But the Middle Easterners, they just have a look that's undeniable. Yeah. It's very common, if you're in, Lebanon, Jordan, Israel, Egypt. They've got beautiful people, beautiful cultures, and beautiful music. There's so much. I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah, people more beautiful. Anyways, I also do this little harmony. I have a habit of harmonizing right over the kind of punchline, right?
והים ואנשים יותר יפים מכל העולם ומישהו פעם אחת אמר לי איזה לא בא בשבילך אחי.
So it's punchline, separation. Punchline, separation. So more people more beautiful than anyone in the world.
ומישהו
And somebody once told... I'll just go along with it.
ומישהו
And somebody
פעם אחת אמר לי
once told me
איזה לא בא בשבילך אחי.
Israel isn't the place for you, or the house for you.
הארץ היא
The land, she.
בית בליבי
She's the home in my heart.
אני לא סבר אבל אני ישראלי.
I'm not a Sabra, but I am Israeli. So Sabra is, this is a little word in Hebrew. A Sabra is technically a cactus fruit. But Israelis that are native born use it to describe themselves because they like to say that Israelis are like the cactus fruit. They are very prickly on the outside, but when you crack them in and get into the inside, they're very sweet. Which, when I say it like that, sounds weird, but it just means that on the inside they're very sweet, but on the outside they're tough and prickly. So I'm not a Sabra. I was not born in Israel. I was born in America, as you can probably tell. But I am Israeli. I mean, I grew up there. The most important years of my life were spent there, and I think that I have a lot of identity issues, hence why this album's called Identity. And it was kind of trying to say who I am and what I like and what I stand for. And it can be difficult to fully understand where I'm from because I don't feel American because I left. And whenever I go back, I feel, not at home. And then when I'm in Israel, my Hebrew's not perfect. I don't look Israeli necessarily. I didn't spend my entire life there, and so I don't feel totally Israeli. But I do feel more Israeli than I feel American. And this song was a lot about me saying, yeah, I am Israeli, and that's a huge part of me. I might not look it. I might not. But there is no look of Israeli. There's, it's an immigrant country with a lot of people. And so, yeah, it's kind of just a reminder to myself. That conversation has happened. A lot of people have said, like, no, Israel isn't, like, your home, which could be taken politically or could just be, no, you're not Israeli enough, which, is up for interpretation. But, yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention, at some point, at this point, we have this Latin drums come in. I love using these Latin drums. I use them quite a bit now. Just add some more flavor to the drum beat. Let's get to the chorus, because the chorus is, I think, my favorite part. It's the most powerful lyrically, and I just love I just love it.
ישראלית, אין מקום אחר כמו ארץ ישראל, לגור בשלום אני מתפלל, יהודים וערבים שרים כל מילה, הבית בשבילי והבית בשבילך.
So the chords change. Before we had been playing D major, now we're playing D minor 7. And those chords just together, back to back, sound really soulful. And that harmony and that melody is lovely. Those lyrics mean, and there's no other place. There's no other place like Israel. To live in peace is what I pray for. Yehudim ve'aravim, Jews and Arabs, sharim kol milah, sing every word. Habay b'shvili ve'habay b'shvilcha. Something like that. I don't think that's the right melody, but it's a home for me and a home for you. And it repeats twice. And on the second one, we come in with this flute organ. And on the background, we use something that's kind of unique to... I haven't really used these before. These are technically arpeggiators, or are they chord machines? I actually think they're called chord machines. No, it is arpeggiator. That's why. Okay. So it's an arpeggiator of the dynamic ensemble, and then there's two of the wood ensembles. And essentially, those just go... You put in the chords, and it creates the stuff. Usually, I would just do the orchestration, but this one just worked really well. It's really pretty, right? And then we do the same here. Hold on. This happened the other day. Hold on. Now you're going to see me really big. Oh no! Scary. Don't worry. Let me fix it. And then float on top. So then next we have the wood ensemble. Sounds like this. I think we just do the same thing an octave up. Really simple, but together they just make this. It's really pretty. We come in next with flutes. Really subtle in the background. Yeah. And it's just those two chords back and forth. Literally those two back and forth and back and forth. I use a little loop of me going. Yeah, it's just there's no other place. No. And I put that in a ring shifter, so it's like it's changing. The auto filter is going in and out, so it's getting kind of muddy and then clear, muddy and clear, and then also swirling back and forth kind of around. It's not that distinguishable. You can probably hear it now. Really simple. And nothing changes. The lyrics stay the same. Everything stays the same other than those additions. I do and bring back the Latin kit. drum kit. I want to see if I can try to play that bit. I'm kind of mimicking the... Right, similar vibes. I don't know why I played that in Celesta. Celesta? I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce that. But, yeah, it's just kind of that... come in with a pretty simple harmony. Nothing too special with the harmonies. And let's try to play that. I'm just gonna challenge myself. There you go. It's a really simple harmony, but it's pretty, and it's just adding stuff. There's not really that much going on here. It's just trying to, it's similar to the previous song. It's just trying to let the lyrics speak. And the previous song was let the guitar speak. This song, it's let the lyrics speak. This song isn't supposed to be, it feels grand, and yet it's very simple. And that's something that I think really aids to its message. Because the lyrics are not difficult. If you speak Hebrew, they're not difficult. They're very simple, and it's a song about wanting to have peace, and it's a song about being proud of who you are, being proud of your country, but knowing that there are problems that are happening, and there's issues with the country. There's issues, which is obviously difficult to talk about. I will say, a big criticism I've gotten for the song is you say you want peace, but it's only about Israel, and there's no real side about the Arabs, which I agree in a sense that it's lacking that, and there's a reason for that. When I started writing the song, after I'd written the song, I kept developing it, editing it. And I immediately was like, I want to have some Arabic singing and rapping in this. And so I went to a few people and I said, do you know anyone? Because I didn't have any friends that could speak Arabic that knew how to rap. That was the problem. And, that knew how to rap in Arabic. They rap in other languages, in English, but they didn't know how to rap in Arabic. And so it was 100% a problem of me not being able to find someone that I could work with, that I knew. And so it was really sad, because I think this song would be so much more powerful if it had Arabic, and had that, and not me writing that. I write from my perspective, and I wanted them to write from their perspective, but there was no them that I knew that could do it, which was really sad. So I hope in the future I can do a version of the song with Arabic. I think that there's plenty of space for it. I think it would sound amazing and be that much more impactful. And the reason that I say, because so initially the idea, I even had structured it out. Initially the idea was going to be There's No Other Place was going to be the title. And the idea was going to be there was no other place like Israel that I'm singing. There's no other place like Palestine, for my friend or whoever was going to write that part. And the song was going to be called There's No Other Place. Not either one. And so this song feels unfinished to me because it is unfinished. I'm still proud of it. I think it's beautiful. But I am not shying away from the fact that it is more Israel-centric, and I just want to explain why. Obviously, I'm Israeli, so I'm writing from my perspective. I am not Palestinian. I have plenty of friends who are Palestinian, Just none of them know how to rap. That's the problem. So yeah, I'm looking forward to kind of redoing the song and adding that element to it because, yeah, I think it would make it much more impactful and much more meaningful, which is kind of the goal. The next part goes back into part B, I would say, which is the boom, 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 boom. These lyrics are pretty simple. It's I traveled from I messed up here. I'm gonna tell you a secret. I say what did I say? Chevron Alaylat? Hebron. Hebron and Eilat are not that far away from each other. I meant Chalmon, which is the northernmost point of Israel, which Eilat is the southernmost point. I don't know how I went through like 20 rounds of editing, because even in the lyrics that I wrote, it says Chalmon. I think the take that I did, I said Hebron on accident, and now it's stuck. So it's pretty funny. It's like, basically, I've traveled a third of Israel, not the entirety of it. I traveled a third of it, and it was good. So that's a little Easter egg, little goof on my part. Kind of pissed about that because I listened to it recently. I was like, did I say Hebron? Like, Hebron is cool too. It's not the idea. The idea is northernmost to southernmost, and I've traveled the whole length because I have. But obviously, it's. Yeah, there you go. So yes, I've traveled from Hebron, but it's supposed to be Chalmon, to Eilat, the northernmost, the southernmost. Herzliya, which is west. Shafat is a neighborhood in Jerusalem, Arab neighborhood in Jerusalem. There's no other place. Or there's no place more perfect, more beautiful, more perfect. Mushlam works better, but I wanted to say beautiful. But it kind of, they're kind of interchangeable. In the world. Then this part is very poetic. It's Kalnei Shemesh is like rays of light. Kalnei Shemesh. It's like sunbeams on my skin. There's sunbeams on my skin and a place to dream bigger. And it kind of just repeats the same lyrics there. Then we go back to the chorus, and the chorus changes here. It has a different vibe. And that's because I got rid of the initial, those dun 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 dun, and I go more Asian. I use the erhu, which is one of my favorite sounds. I use it quite a bit in this album, and it's so beautiful. It's this Chinese erhu violin. Just listen to it. So I use it for several reasons. One, it is absolutely gorgeous. It's so rich and lush. But the other reason is it has this crying feel. It really feels like it's straining to sing almost, and it feels very mournful, which again, kind of the vibe. So I use that. We go back to the Celesta, don't know how to pronounce it again. Really simple, just a little diddly doos, and that's it. It's just these 4 instruments, right? Repeating the same lyrics, and then we come in. Literally just the same. And then we come to the part which I think is the most fun to play. Let me show you. It's this bum 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 bum, and that melody, that tune is something that I sang in the shower way back when. And it just is this da la 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 la. It's also a very common kind of style of Jewish hymns. And the la 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 la, that word, it's not a word, it's just la 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 la, but and la da da la, but that is very common in Jewish songs, kind of hymns. So la 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 la. So we come in with so we're doing that with flutes, and it's just really pretty. Let's go break down. So we got the piano. Then we do the same thing on the flutes. Lower octave, higher octave. We do that once, and then on the vocals, we're just doing some vocal runs that are very Middle Eastern. So one of the tricks that I did, I'm not, trained as much in that kind of singing. It's it's a big departure for me, from a genre standpoint and from a singing standpoint. And so one of the techniques that I use is, when you over auto-tune a sound, you get these really, it's almost vibrato between notes, but it's super exaggerated, which is a sound that in Middle Eastern music is heavily used with that. So the idea I had was, I can already do that to a degree, but I'm going to make it that much more by putting the autotune basically 100%. So if you listen, you'll hear how crazy it sounds, because it's overworking it. But when it's kind of sitting low in the mix, it works, and now you're going to notice it. It's out of tune, and there's parts that sound wrong, and that's part of what it's supposed to be. So it sounds abnormal to the ears. But when you're playing that over normal sound, it has a really interesting vibe, and I really enjoyed writing it. But so let's do these. Then we come in with a bass and with another pair of flutes and another piano. So we do that twice. The bass line is pretty simple. Really simple. We add another flute, but it's just the same one in the middle harmony. So we add the lower and we add the higher, then we add the middle in. We add the second piano. I think it's just an octave up. Yep. And then on the last one, so it's rising. To finish it off, it's like I'm crying. Like, it's like the music is crying at this point. So we add in the erhu that I mentioned before, the Chinese violin that really has this broad crying feeling to it. And we add the la 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 part. And I'm singing this really strained. When I sing this, I cry sometimes. Not that it's some beautiful piece necessarily, but it's just emotional to me. And so it really does feel like crying, and sometimes it makes me cry because the music is supposed to feel like that. It's supposed to be overwhelming and all bottled up, and then just kind of, and it's just the erhu. It's all this buildup, and then it lands on just a crying kind of feel. And it's very intentional. Lands with the octave of bass, and that's it, and that's the song. And it's simple. It's really simple, but it's very powerful musically. And it's kind of the age-old lesson, like I mentioned in the previous one, that sometimes simplicity is best. But this is more about simplicity can be really, really powerful. I've been thinking about doing an kind of like an acoustic version on just the piano and vocals. If you guys would like to hear that, I might do that because yeah. So that's that song. I think that one's a lot more music theory, and the feeling of music. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, any questions, put them in the comments. Let me know anything about this track, anything about music generally speaking. The next one, I'm going to check my phone to make sure I get it right. I think the next one that I have on the list is, oh gosh. I think is it Intro to Feeling Myself already? It might be. That would be kind of crazy, wouldn't it? Let me check. Hold on. Is it Feeling Myself? Yes, it is. Intro to Feeling Myself and Feeling Myself. I'm going to put those together because it's just the intro. That's going to be a fun one. A lot of different things to talk about there. So yeah, maybe a special guest. We'll see. Anyways, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one.